Where did it go? Where did it come from? Hi, Zoe.
I heard poops.
We are live!
Oh,
Yay!
Snapple Jacks. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Hide your adults, because it's time for Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays. Well, this is a pre-show. It's terrifying. This is,
Yay.
just, everyone's being a little nervous. Everything's going kind of smooth when we were setting up. Trying some new stuff. It's me.
We're threading lightly.
Threading lightly. Oh, man.
Yes.
Oh, what are you, an AMD bulldozer?
Hi, Zoe, Zoe Globe.
You brought up your
and
resource
Patrick.
consumption metrics earlier, and I saw a couple of processors just hitting like 4%, so yeah, we're threading lightly.
Here's the thing. That is, that's like one of the cruel things about AMD. You're evil. I love you. With the AM4 platform, they're like, oh man, there's this like second generation chip. Did, just update that BIOS, pop it in. Why don't you just go ahead and order that 2700? And it's like, no, we don't.
Yeah, that 2700 was mocking me the other day. It's like, oh yeah, the performance comparison between the 2700 and the 8700K. It's like, oh, they closed the gap even more.
Mm-hmm.
Not by a significant amount, but they closed it a little bit. So, oh, all right.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I was in your position with the Ryzen 5, it would probably take me about 2 weeks max to justify buying it. From a 1700, that's a hard argument to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it needs to drop below like 300 pounds. Because right now it's sitting very pretty at 370, and I don't want to pay that much.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if I lose that argument with myself and end up buying one before you do, I'll make your life even harder to be like, you can buy one or I can give you the 1700.
But yeah, no, it is very much on my radar. It just needs to drop a little bit.
Yeah.
And since AMD is actually selling processors now, it may very well drop.
Yeah, I've been pricing out a 2700 build. So. Yay! So I'm going to do that this year.
Intel, to add insult to injury, have well, the fine folks at BSD have discovered six exploits with hyperthreading, to the point where they can dump the encryption keys and the UEFI keys and everything else just by having hyperthreading enabled. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And they were saying, Ryzen, the SMT implementation in Ryzen is not affected that we could test. So, yeah, no, Intel's not having a good half a year.
Yeah, definitely. And showing off a processor that isn't even real.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Venn got a poop.
Bad bro. You let me down, bro. I'm just saying, I got these inputs all jacked up too. That had nothing to do with Brad. Brad's just being Brad. But...
Yeah, no, it is very much a result of the same functionality that created Meltdown. Although the Meltdown fix doesn't actually fix this.
I don't know, man. It's just... I just buy AMD, man.
No, don't worry. That 5 gigahertz processor is coming out, you guys, along with a 1200 watt water refrigerator. Yeah.
Hi, Strider. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Chipsy.
Oh, poor Strider has to work for Apple now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I still have my Apple ID.
We're going to be talking about this Saturday a lot more. NVIDIA with that NDA.
Oh, yeah.
That blanket NDA.
That's so dark and evil. I gotta respect it a little bit. It's like, wow. Did the thing you tried to pull with like the vendors? Did you look at that? Like that went so swimmingly.
It's like, oh yeah, the vendors didn't want because the media was being mean to us. Ooh, we know. We'll silence the media.
Hi, Brother Jellybean. Hello, Artherin. I meant to say hi to you earlier.
Go. Oh yeah, everyone. Pop OS VM. Yeah, it works just like that. I don't know. If I was buying a laptop, I'd buy an Apple product just because they don't mess around. They're like, oh, did the keyboard break? All right, they take it out back and shoot it and give you a new one.
Well, they're currently getting sued because of a problem with the keyboard.
People don't.
Guess those butterfly switches don't work so good.
That boggles me. You buy an Apple because you need someone to tell you how a computer should look and work. You don't get to complain, citizen.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Pennywise.
What more conversation? Huh. I've had one of those one time. Frightening stuff, really, but...
Man.
Someone was very angry when they made that song. Music. Track.
Of course not.
Yeah, the touchpad is so good they actually sell it to you separately.
What's my problem, Matthew?
You're stuck here with us.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You see,
Run away.
that's the difference, though, Strider. Jill doesn't spend all week talking smack. And Pedro and I aren't sitting back waiting. It's like, just wait till Wednesday.
Yeah.
We're going to systematically shut you down in order. It's like tag teaming. So, did you have fun playing Turok?
Yes. That's I like old school first-person shooters, and that very much fits the bill. Even if the first thing I had to do was disable the view bombing, because that was getting slightly annoying.
That's like, oh, yeah, that's my favorite part of it, because it's like you're riding on, I don't know, a unicycle of sorts, because when you strafe, you gotta have this lean to you, and it's like you're on a hover.
If you're just walking forward, the camera is going. It's like, dude!
I noticed you disabled that, and then you cheat. You filthy cheat. You cut on crosshairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it makes much of a difference, because the game auto-aims so much.
Well, yeah, it's the N64 version. I was going to cut them on, and I was like, nah, you just gotta shoot in the general direction. It'll hit them.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, hi, Mr. Red. Hello.
RoboCraft's pretty fun once you get down to it, but you'll get to the point... Cling. You'll get to the point where you will start to realize, like, I see the grind in this one now. Okay.
Well, you're going to see that with any video game.
Yeah.
Mr. Red, what GPU are you getting? 1060, 1070?
Ooh, the
Radeon?
1063 gigabyte for it's like 20 pounds more expensive than the 1050 Ti, and
Yeah.
it's so much faster. It's like
yeah, so I love my Matrox Millenniums. Those were my render cards for many years. I have the G450, the G500. Yeah, those are sweet cards. This music. Voices. Ooh la la. Ooh la la.
We got to click on a link? Just like, all right.
4590, Patrick? Cool.
So, okay, what was it, like 3 weeks ago? Intel's like, enter to win our 50th anniversary or whatever BS chip, right?
yeah.
Then a few days after, AMD's like, man, we'll hook you up with an Epic if you trade that in.
Yeah. It's the 16-core Threadripper.
I entered the Intel contest. I just want to go on record. I will trade that in for an Epic.
Yeah, you can because you're in the US. That was limited to US only.
Then I'm going to take a picture next outside, like next to all the freedom, and send it to Pedro.
Oh, it's a 1070 Ti. All right.
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
Yeah, 1070s are nice.
Hi, Bart Brandt. And Patrick, why do you hate your Matrox Millennium? It's of course you can't play a lot of the new games on it, of course, but it's good for displays. That's why they. I was
about to say, Jill. I mean, if it's on a server, I don't even understand why you got a monitor in it plugged into it. B, if you do, I mean, yeah, basically it needs to display the console.
Yeah, I never had a problem with the G200. We used to use those in my animation lab, but that was back in the day.
Oh, no, Doug. I've thought about it many times. I just haven't done it.
This cord can pull whatever it is you're listening from Spotify.
I'm not listening to anything from Spotify. I got this spooled up from freemusicarchive.org, playing through VLC.
Yeah.
Playing open source music.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not streaming on Twitch. Give me those bits. Have some blinky graphics telling everything that's going on with the stream when like 10% of it's actually what you're doing.
Hi, DeCresney. Hi, Nemo.
Alright, I'm gonna get something to drink.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you're not getting any of the Vegas anytime soon. Yes, the this particular bit mining craze may be over, but those are still selling very well because they can still hash like nobody's business. It would be nice if I could get my hands on like a Vega 64, because supposedly the performance of that one is about on par with a 1080, so having proper comparison tests on the Linuxes with the 64 would be very nice. But that's 15 or 1400 pounds I'm not willing to pay. That's the price of a car right there.
I think I can run possibly one more year on the 980. See, it's going to be the dodgy thing, though, because Intel's like, man, we're going to release our discrete graphics solution in 2020. Ooh.
Remains to be seen what the performance is going to be like.
Wow.
Okay.
They have
I'm going to
Raja,
take a
yes.
quick break. Right back.
NVIDIA's in a position right now is they don't have to release anything.
Yeah. Yes, there is competition for the 1080, but there is a 1080 Ti and like 3 different Titans that curb it. So,
Let's see. It'll be interesting. I just want a very good Intel discrete graphics solution, so I can go Team Blue with my AMD Ryzen processor and be like Team Blue, because I love these people running around. They're like Team Red with their Intel CPUs. I'm like, really, Cupcake? One of the easiest components of your PC to swap it out, put you on Team Red. It don't work like that. See, there you go. Now we have confirmation that we will, in fact, get a gaming GPU from Intel. Brilliant. Thank you, Strider.
I mean, NVIDIA also said that the Titan V wasn't a gaming GPU. That hasn't stopped people.
NVIDIA released that, especially with display ports, just to show the world is like, listen, we can make this.
This isn't for gaming.
Right.
But you can do it. Like, better than any other card we have right now. You can do it.
We're going to release a crippled version of this as a consumer card, and it's still going to be the 1080 Ti.
Oh, yeah. Buy, like, a full 50% more performance. That's... Like, what are you holding in the bag for Ampere?
Well, I don't know. It kind of caught me off guard with... I honestly thought Intel was going to be able to answer... Especially on the server end, I thought they were going to be able to answer Threadripper with the Xeon, like walking to the back of the warehouse and like dusting off something they made 3 years ago. I'm like, yeah, all right, let's start using these now. I lost that bet. They're like, ooh,
Like, wait a second. So they can actually do better performance server-side since everything is multi-threaded? Okay, what do we do now? So what they're relying on right now is just, yeah, the server was dominated and still is dominated by Intel, so a lot of corporations don't even look for anything else. They just buy Intel.
Love it. Shots fired.
I know about machine learning, Strider. I just don't really care. I play video games on my computer. That's the demanding thing.
I don't know. I play video games, but I was having that conversation with myself the other day, Pedro. I was like, should I just buy it? The only reason I want a 1080 is because you two Yahoos have 1080s. This is ultimately where the conversation ended. It's like, you know, that's the only reason you want one. Because, like, is there anything that you cannot play at 1080 60 that should run at 1080 60? It's like, no.
I mean, the only ones that don't are the really bad ports, and let's face it.
Or the same ones that don't run at 60 at 1080 on a 1080.
Yeah. It's increasing the GPU is not going to make a difference. That's all CPU bound, so yeah.
Oh, Strider, I wasn't aware someone said that they didn't. Huh. I missed that.
Yeah, coin mining.
Well, they're not doing GPUs for AI. I mean, NVIDIA releases their own modules for AI. They're not video cards they're using. Now, there's some research labs that are like, man, we don't want to spend the money for those. Yeah, they're buying video cards.
Yeah.
For simulations and stuff like that.
And look, AI, well, either we have an invisible Jill or that particular instance of Jitsu froze.
Hang up. It froze. Okay.
Are you going to refresh still? Or are you going to wait this one out?
Maybe?
Joe?
Okay.
Well,
well, we had the first death of the evening. It was just a Jitsi tab that decided, nope, we're having none of that.
alright, let's see.
And now my Jitsi return video froze.
Oh boy.
I'll give you a reboot. Don't touch anything.
Yeah.
Actually, you might try just refreshing your page.
Okay. I refreshed, but your return video is still very much frozen.
Alright, use your imagination. What do you mean, yeah, Jill? What do you mean by that?
Oh, no. I actually had to exit out of Chrome completely and go back in.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, you did get screwy.
Unable to access camera.
There we go. I have return video again.
Ooh. Yay.
I'm on the wrong deck. Jill sounds different.
Yeah. Pedro's real loud.
Say something, Pedro.
Okay, saying things. Plenty of things. No things, all the things. Perhaps some things you may even care about. Some that you may not. And I have
Okay.
a reasonably thick layer of sweat covering my forehead right now.
Oh, poor Pedro.
It's sexy, don't worry about it.
It's really, really hot in England right now, and I know Zoe knows that too.
Alright, I think that's settled.
Yeah, I was doing very well without a shirt.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna be on camera. Better put one on. Okay.
Yeah, that was weird. So I don't know how long it froze.
Cool.
All right.
Alright, Reno. Let's pause that. Let me go get a refill, and we're gonna get started.
Okay. Yay.
All right. And I guess everyone enjoyed Turok very much yesterday, because before we started the show, I checked the view count, and it was up to like 76.
Yes, it was awesome.
So yeah, no, people like old games. Go figure. It's not like Kickstarter built an entire funding model on that.
I was real excited when they brought that to Linux. That was awesome.
I wish System 76 would cut the crap and actually reply to my emails once. It's like, yeah, I would very much like to throw a lot of words at one of your laptops. I don't want to keep it, just, you know, let me have it for a week or two. That's all I need.
Hello, Empty! Empty, our leprechaun. Our favorite leprechaun. Oh!
Oh?
Old computer games are better than new console ports.
Fair.
Yes.
Though there are a couple of console ports I wouldn't mind. Bloodborne.
Oh, and I can show my mug. This time is one of my scale mugs, but I purposely picked this one because it has fire on it. Since we have lots of topics with fire in the name, and it's possible there might be fires.
Mhm.
Let me show Ben. See Ben? Fire. Fire. See, that's the spark post. That was one of my scale mugs. Now, granted, I only chose it so because of our topics we're talking about, not necessarily because of video stream fires.
Oh, there will be plenty of those, don't you worry.
Yeah, Matthew has the mug too. Yay! That was his. Yay!
All right.
Yes.
All the fires. Maybe I should get a fireman's uniform. I'll wait for October, then I can get sexy fireman.
October?
It's a month for people with a lisp.
Aww.
That's mean, Jill. You shouldn't laugh at people with disabilities.
It's a month for people who can't tell time.
I think we're all disabled here, right? In one way or another. Everyone's got something special.
Oh, we're all special. In all the wrong ways. I make no excuses for it. I'm just glad I'm not the only one, especially at work. Because Dave and Nathan have been doing this job for far longer than I have. And every now and then I'm looking at them doing it's like, are you sure about that? What? Oh, I was being special, wasn't I? Yeah. Yes, you are.
Hey, listen, man, you gotta look at it this way. You wear Velcro shoes for a reason.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Well, Pedro's hand special. I'm eye special. and Venn is just special.
You know, I'm pretty sure that was the biggest insult. You're just special, Venn. Sorry.
I'm teasing. I'm kidding, Venn.
Come on.
Take it as a compliment.
Oh, sweetheart, do you think you're capable of earning my fee-fees? Oh. I assure you, don't worry.
But yeah, no, I do enjoy being hand special because I get to bitch about things that other people take for granted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super nuts. Yeah. I'm trying to head match while you guys are having a special off. I'm sorry.
A special off?
It's like a dance off, but it's more special.
Yeah, no, one of my favorite topics to rail on are ergonomic mice.
Ergonomic,
yeah.
Yeah.
Ergonomic is...
Ergonomic.
I don't know, when you say ergonomic, I expect like Hugo Weaving to show up. It's like I've reforged the mouse. Alright, I think we're gonna do it.
Yes.
Suggestions are enabled. Remember, you can vote on show titles during the show if we say something obtuse, which often happens. And Bang suggests that. And head over to vote.linuxgamecast.com to vote on them, which we will do in the after show.
Indeed.
All right. Let's take those inputs down and. I will not be satiated by a mere tub of mayo. I require two. And possibly an airwolf.
Can't have too much mayo, or you'll summon airwolf. Yeah, no. F that business. Those mice are all kinds of horrible.
All right. All right, kids. Well, let's put our serious pants on and do a show.
Yes.
Record. Then let's make sure the browser shut is good. All right. Let's light this thing, possibly.
Possibly.
In 3, 2.
Ubuntu drops the first round of metrics, and Firefox asks if you've been pwned.
The 7th gen Nooks get Penguin certified, and GitLab gets some updates.
Pulse Audio 12.0 finally learns how to Bluetooth. That is amazing, and in a surprising move that vaguely represents sanity, GNOME has decided to ditch the hamburger menu. All this and more is coming up because it's another great day for Linux, everyone. So let's go. 2, 1. And welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we're going to sit back, relax, and talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Penguins, Floss in general. I'm Vin Stone, joined by Joe Bryant, and one Pedro Mateus, spanning all the time zones. I think there's a 8-hour difference between those two. It's kind of brilliant. So what did you have for breakfast? No, what did you have for dinner?
Yes.
And so, what's been going on before we get into it? Pedro, England is on fire, I know that, and not just with heat, but with actual fire.
Yes, there is some actual fire happening around the Saddleworth Moor. So, and it's been raging for 3 days. So that's significant. It needs to be handled quickly, please.
Joe, what's going on in LA?
Fires. Oh boy. So I finally got my blackout curtains installed. So now I won't be so bright on camera. So I think I do look a little better. And my husband Steve was able to install them by standing on my 90-pound Sun computer and my 150-pound Dell Precision 690 workstations. No ladder needed here.
This is great. You finally have the proper lighting. We can break out the glow sticks, man. And
yes. Oh, and yes, I have lots of lighting to show in a future.
It sounds delightfully terrifying. Over here, I haven't done a whole lot. I did some back-end giggity stuff on our web zone, sitemaps and stuff like that. Added a podcast landing page, so you can just go to podcast and just get our main shows. And what else did I do? Oh, PeerTube. We're on PeerTube, I think. I'm not 100% on that, but our videos show up there. We have a channel, if that's your thing. And I've been having a network off with Jordan because he's setting up his version of Jotunheim, our new video bridge, and I've started exploring the setting up a local instance here as well, and I am absolutely rubbish at networking, period. Keep me away from it. Never let me in your environment. Just torch it. It'll be safer. Cool. Let's get into this, because Canonical, they've released some metrics.
Oh, yes, they have. So you may know from a couple of months ago that we talked about how the Ubuntu installer now offers, if you'd like to send some metrics, some telemetry, nothing personally identifiable, just some the specs of your machine, the options that you pick during the install itself, and yeah, that's basically it. And they have released the first round. Will Cook made a little post on the Ubuntu blog, and you can see that the opt-in rate is 2/3. 2/3 of the people running the installer have decided to opt in to send the statistics back, which is very good. That gives them a lot of data to work with. And yeah, it's one of the things that I found the most odd was the installer options, because 90% of people want to download updates during installation. Only 53.43% of people want the audio and video codecs, and only 28.25% of people want the auto login. Now, for me, I always install the codecs, and I never let Ubuntu run updates during the install, because that slows it down a lot.
Yeah. I do the same thing, Pedro. Exactly. And one of the other reasons I was thinking that 53.8% of the people installing Ubuntu do the nuke and pave option is probably because of people coming back to Ubuntu because of GNOME and now being the default window manager. And also, a lot of people do virtual machine installs, which I did on a few of my machines as well. And the 1804.04.1 update release isn't scheduled till July 26. So these metrics will probably change as soon as that is available. And it also doesn't surprise me that most Linux users in the survey use 4 gigs of RAM because of how memory efficient Linux is. And you would never see 1 gig of RAM with a modern Windows install, for shame.
then you would have to find the ever elusive 1 gigabyte DIMM. Here's what I think. Definitely with the 4 gigabyte install, I think that is a lot of butter robots, hashtag Rick and Morty. Because, you know, you're looking at devices like I'm getting ready to build some Nooks. And the amount of memory RAM that's going to be in that is going to be 4 gigs, because that is the bare minimum I can get away with for the Nook to still be able to pass the butter.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not going to throw 8 gigs or 32 gigs. For a laugh, I might, but it wouldn't be practical. And for the money, I do think maybe the metrics, Canonical, might be a wee off. Jill, how many monitors do you have?
I have 3, but I have had 4 set up before, but it was just one too many.
Okay.
I couldn't keep track.
They're showing some with 3. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5.
Yeah.
5 and 2 virtual, so it thinks I have 7, and that's what it would report. Not seeing that in there, but you did bring up the, you know, nuke from orbit option for installing, which I see a lot. Now, I think some of that might be Windows-like behavior, because that's how you would upgrade Windows, is nuke the hard drive and reinstall.
Yeah.
And, you know, I get that, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Because with me, now I've had some really wicked bad experiences jumping LTSs. But nothing that couldn't be hammered out. But I've learned to keep track of any PPAs I have, make sure that's disabled, and to do my best not to compile stuff and install it. And if I do, keep track of it so I can remove it before doing that upgrade. You know, any self-compiled libraries or anything like that. So I think it's safe to do an inline upgrade, question mark?
Yeah.
If you don't have all those PPAs and you don't do all of that, yes.
Yeah, well, I did it, and it went just beautifully. I just had to reinstall the NVIDIA PPAs and a few other PPAs, but that was it. It was smooth.
Yeah, I did the 1710 to 1804, and it went swimmingly enough to where I didn't trust this box for 2 days. Like, I was waiting for that other shoe to drop. I did notice 21.9% manual partitioning, because some people realize Canonical. There's no place like home partition. Seriously, why is that not default?
Yeah, and one thing I noticed is that they have a CPU count. Now, if you've seen those in previous gatherings of statistics, you may be thinking, oh, those are threads. No, those are actual physical CPUs, which in 2018 seems like a weird decision. It's like, oh yeah, we have one CPU with 12 threads. Which one would you say is the most important count? Well, Canonical just proved it. It looks like there was, what, 90 or 85% of people were running one CPU. Wonder.
Yeah.
Speaking of CPUs.
Yes.
Oh, yes. This is exciting. Intel 7th Gen NUCs are now Ubuntu certified. And this is a first and will aid device manufacturers and their developers to a smoother path to the development and deployment of Internet of Things devices.
Mhm.
And this is actually a really big deal, and it's the first time this has ever been done. And I'm actually looking forward to putting an Ubuntu certified case badge on a NUC instead of Windows certified. That's a real big deal.
Wait a minute. You're going to publicly admit you run?
Yeah.
It's most people see the NUCs like the average consumer sees the NUCs as, oh, it's a small form factor PC that you can put on the back of your TV because it's got like the VESA mounts.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to save the extra desk space, or if you just have a very teeny tiny desk and you can only have the monitor, the keyboard, and the mouse, and you don't want to put a big desktop computer on the ground, just get a NUC for regular web browsing. That's fine. But the enthusiasts, and I use this word because I know Strider loves it, it's these are toys. NUCs are toys. They're, as Venn mentioned earlier, they're robots that pass butter. And it's Linux, it's the perfect OS for a toy. Just
Exactly.
Can be, because I am like elbow deep in NUC knowledge right now because I'm trying to get the best bang for the buck for our money to build the 2 boxes for the videos. And you can get away cheap, but there are some ridiculously expensive i7 NUCs, not Skull Canyon stuff.
Oh, yes.
NUCs.
Oh, yeah.
That, are tapping 700, 800 bucks. And I'm like, I don't understand. I mean, do you want your Plex box to have bragging rights? Or, I don't know. I'm a huge fan of overkill as well. But hey, it's good to know that you can put some Canonical on there. And but then again, I agree with you, Pedro. They're play around devices because you can buy them wicked cheap. The ones that we're planning are like 120 bucks. So put whatever you want on there and have some fun. Good news, I think, for Pedro is Pulse Audio, our favorite audio server that works 100% of the time, and we've never had issues with it.
None whatsoever.
12.0 is out. It's a thing. The A2DP, that's the Bluetooth support. This is a couple of big things in this update because they're talking about better latency reporting. And Pedro, you had some questions about that.
Oh, yeah. So 2 of the points in particular, because I think it's the very first one that they bring up. Yeah, better latency reporting, hence better AV sync with the A2DP Bluetooth profile, and the fact that the A2DP Bluetooth profile is now the default instead of HSP, which is finally on that second count. And for the first one, I always notice this because if you have a Bluetooth headset and you're watching a movie, watching a YouTube video, there's always a slight cutoff of silence. And then the audio, when the audio resumes, it comes back. Now, they say that this addresses that because what they did, clever on them, was reduce the buffer size on the kernel, or in the kernel, to make it so it doesn't get out of sync as much because the buffer is smaller, so there's less to catch up on.
Well, there's always going to be, well, I shouldn't say always, because I've seen good experiences. I have some Go Groove Bluetooth headsets that I use with Android devices sometimes when I'm around the house, like cleaning. It's adorable. I'm glad they got this sorted. I've never really used it, even though, like, even here on this desk, I have a little Bluetooth. This thing, like, terrified me way back in the day because I plugged it in and it worked.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that. I'm glad they got this sorted out. They did add support for the Dell Thunderbolt dock, the TB16 speaker jack support. That's good. You got noise. And finally, you can lock the volume on an audio channel when, on the multiple occasions that you can't disable auto gain control. And I'm just lying to you because no one wants that feature and they've refused to add it, even though it wouldn't be terribly complex.
Yeah, no, it would actually be nice to have that option, Pulse, please.
No, Pedro, don't say that. The more that people want it, the less chance of them ever adding it as a feature. So, Walls of Fire.
Oh, yes. So let's say you are one of those people that just likes to reappropriate every computer on Earth for your own usage. I'm totally plagiarizzo Strider there. And you would like to, I don't know, maybe add some security to your network. Well, you can turn one of those boxes
I
into...
got to interject, Pedro, because I'm just reading this, like the article, the meat of it. All right, this is firewalls for Linux, and it's starting out with the explanation of what a firewall is. It's like, ooh.
Yes.
Really?
This is very clearly targeted at people that they have an idea of what a firewall is, but that's about all they know. It's a firewall. It's a thing. So yeah, what they do is they actually go into all the different, well, not all of them, but a decent selection of different firewalls, some of which are just bits of software you can install, some of which are whole distros that you can just turn a spare box that you have lying around into a hardware firewall, if so you'd like. The ClearOS is pretty good. I have admittedly very limited experience with it, but it is stupidly simple to set up. It's they say that IPFire down near the end of the article, they say that IPFire is like the best one if you just want to have a dedicated box for a firewall. But I didn't even know it existed. ClearOS, it works.
Yeah. And actually, I've used IPFire quite a bit. I installed it not too long ago on a Raspberry Pi, and it's actually a great firewall distro for beginners, and it has a really nice web interface. And so does ClearOS. It's really good for the beginners as well. And some of these distros, including IPFire and ClearOS, have pre-installs on hardware blade servers and routers that you can buy from different companies, which is really cool. And a little history on one of them called Smoothwall Express. It's been around for years and has the best compatibility with older hardware. And it's actually what IPFire and IPCOP are forked from. Smoothwall was the original that forked several of these distros. And I've also used pfSense on my routers in recent years. That's been a staple in the firewall distro arena for many years. But I also used to use DDWRT, which is not mentioned in the article. But
ooh, speaking of
that's
things
one of the
not
best.
mentioned in the article.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Cover your ears, kids, because I'm going to be that guy. I've been playing around with the special hell of setting up something that's web-facing. I don't envy anyone who has to mess with that. So naturally, I'm like, what's the laziest thing I can do and learn the least and still be secure? It's like, oh, right. That should be easy. UFW. Why is that not mentioned? I think even Arthurian, which I did not know it, apparently GUFW, which I'm assuming is the GUI for it.
Yes.
And I would just say UFW because the thing speaks English. And it is so wicked easy to set up. But I'm guessing most of these do have a GUI component. But, you know, I've said it before. Just run Zone Alarm and whine. You should be good.
Black Ice Defender, yes.
Okay.
Recommended, man. Somebody quote me on that. It'll be brilliant. Keep your routers updated too, kids. My Nighthawk had a update, which was kind of screwy because it's like, hey, we have an update. And I tried to download it. It's like, I can't download it. So I had to go to their web zone and download it and do all that fun stuff. Firefox has kind of got their own, not firewall, but kind of a, what would you call it?
They are very much doubling down on the whole we are the most secure browser thing, and well, they are now working with the fine folks behind Have I Been Pwned, which is like the massive aggregate database for all the dumps from the massive hacks that happened on LinkedIn, Patreon, Linux Mint, everything else. They all have like the lists of emails and the passwords that the people behind those attacks successfully cracked. They have all of that, and well, with Firefox integrating it out of the box, it will whenever you're, say, registering for a new website, it will scream, "No, that password's been has been pwned. Don't use that one." or that email has been pwned, considering using another one. And the fine folks behind Have I Been Pwned are also going to be working with 1Password, which is a password manager, which will do the exact same thing. So this is good. This is just good. Yes, please.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, this goes a long way to making Firefox one of the most secure web browsers available. And they've been true to their motto of dedication to security is top notch. It's really, really awesome. And something I put in the show notes is, ironically, my email was pawned back in 2015 when Patreon got hacked. And this is because I had just created an account for Patreon to become an LGC patron. And that was the first and last time that my account had been compromised. I actually use a two-factor authentication whenever possible and change my passwords every 6 months. So that's always been my habit. And actually, yeah, I'm an old nerd. I still use an encrypted floppy disk to store my account usernames and passwords. And having lots of vintage computers makes this very possible. And I just checked that floppy disk, and I still had my passwords from my old BBS days from the 80s and Prodigy. So I keep it up to date. It's a big gedit file.
Man, monkey123. So is even with this, I like this. This is a good feature. Something tells me they're still going to build a better idiot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Somebody's going to just see that and they're going to go, nope, ignore, whatever, don't care.
Yeah, I know. And it's so easy now.
That's when you punish them and make them use links.
Yes, or e-links or W3M. Yes,
you want to keep them secure. We got a couple of little bits of info about the GitLab update 11.0. Yeah,
Jill?
Yeah. So this is really awesome. With this update introduces auto DevOps, which in 3 easy steps: create your code, push to GitLab. And then GitLab will actually, there's no steps. It says there's no steps 3 because GitLab will then build, test, code quality scanning, security scanning, license scanning, packaging, performance testing, deploying, and monitoring your application. So auto DevOps will, basically almost do everything for you after you created your code to check everything and make sure everything's working correctly. And
I'm with GitLab, and I'm excited.
One of the points I was making, as we have talked about before, it is because of GitLab's use of software containers and now deploying them on Kubernetes that auto DevOps software testing and management can even exist. And this is actually really, really amazing because of this new technology.
I think this is definitely GitLab. You love it, and yeah, the auto DevOps, I'm digging that. But a lot of people, it's like, well, what about the other story about GitLab? And I'm like, yeah, we need to talk about that because earlier this week, GitLab's like, hey man, we're getting off this Azure business. Now this is something that's been planned. I saw some misreporting. They're like, they're doing it because Microsoft. And no.
They were already doing it.
Right.
Yeah, they were already doing because they needed the Kubernetes.
Well, exactly. I mean, it has nothing to do with Microsoft acquiring GitHub, but they did want that Kubernetes goodness. However, it would be irresponsible not to point out that Azure Kubernetes Service, AKS, went into general availability earlier in June. So, question mark?
Yeah, good.
I was like, wait, so you're moving to Google for that service that's available in Azure now? So it's nothing. Okay.
Maybe they weren't in the original limited release, so they decided, let's just go with GitLab.
Pedro, I'm trying to start rumors. Quit. Be quiet.
Yes.
All right. Something that dumbfounded me. This is like twice this month. Gnome's like, hey, look, we're making sense. App menu migration. All right, here's the problem. I think I might have been talking in an after show last week about this thing, the hamburger menu. Yeah. I've seen it. It's junk. No one used it. Yeah, this stupid monkey little thing. I see it all the time with gedit, which I still use. Like, why are you over here? Why are you on the wrong side? How do I say? When your first thought was, how do I deal with this? And you're like, okay, well, I finally got to the point where I can kind of use it. And like, yeah, we're going to tap the brakes on that because it hasn't been seen with any adoption widespread. Good, maybe? I don't know. I mean, I just want to know what's up with the sudden return to sanity from the GNOME project. This is not their modus operandi.
No, but there was this big thing that happened. Perhaps the biggest LTS release this year, Ubuntu 18.04, that has a bunch of people using GNOME and a bunch of people complaining about GNOME not making any sense. Yeah.
And me, I just want to forget about hamburger menus altogether, and let's just get back to completely using classic GNOME application menus, please.
Well, hamburger menus make sense, Jill, on mobile.
Yeah, they actually do, but on desktop they're a little clumsy.
Yeah, and what they're doing right now, they're not completely doing away with it. They're just splitting out the different options into different hamburger menus. So instead of having the one button, you have a couple of more that you will easily be able to identify. You know, like macOS did after they ripped off after they ripped off the GNOME interface.
Man,
they basically split the hamburger menu.
I can have a hamburger menu, but give me like a Royale with cheese menu. Let's just keep it fun.
Quarter pounder.
Hey, that's good. Bringing sanity, because especially with GNOME, if I just want to raise my blood pressure, I can launch GNOME and just like, this is wrong. This is all wrong. I know some people love it. More power to you. That's the beautiful thing about Linux, is we can use what works for us. But let's talk about something that works for me. That's right. 8 reasons why you should use the ultimate desktop manager above all others, according to me, XFCE, Linux desktop environment. This Linux desktop environment is thin and fast with an overall elegance that makes it easy to figure out how to do other things good, and something Zoolander quote that's even on our Patreon page, and I forgot it.
Do other things good too.
Yes.
There's 8 reasons. They're talking about lightweight construction, simplicity, file management, which is also good, stability, elegance, terminal emulation. Come on, you stretched there. Configurability, yes. Module, yes. One thing that I'm 100% on, all this is going to be in our show notes. If you're listening or watching after the fact, Linux Gamecast, go check that out, is stability. And I do pick on Pedro, but Pedro's like, yeah, but I like my swishy, blinky stuff. And I understand that. The bare concept of my desktop manager crashing is like, what?
I know.
What? No.
What's with that?
Kwin is pretty bad at that. And having something like XFCE is good, especially since it's not as reliant on GTK3 as something like Mate, which, let's be honest,
you just wait for 414, buddy. You're going to have to take that back.
Yeah, they're going to introduce that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, one of the reasons.
Mate, go ahead, Jill.
Oh, I'm sorry. So one of the reasons I love XFCE is because it's easily configurable. And for me, I love configuring my desktops.
It is. And I'm going to be the first person out of the box, how they ship it. With it's like, do you want to create everything? When I was repurposing the old render box just to start testing some of the video inputs and how we're going to be setting things up in the future, it's like, just give me the default. I was like, oh, that's wrong. That's all wrong. Because the start menus in the upper left-hand corner. I was like, no, go back. Look like CDE, because that's what I go for. And it lets you do it. Because it's like, just give me some blank panels and let me put everything. And some people are like, man, I need it pre-rolled. I don't need to mess with that. And I 100% respect that. But for old curmudgeons like me and Jill, we just want a blank slate. And it has the added benefit of you can throw as many displays at it as you want. Yes. And it's just like, I don't care, man. Done.
Yeah, cool. It works. Their display settings for multi-monitor work beautifully also with NVIDIA Settings Manager. Because there's some window managers where that actually crashes when you go from one to the next. And really awesome for that. And I also love it because it is lightweight. And I affectionately refer to it as Rodentia OS. It's always what I like to call it, because it's got the little mouse that goes across the screen.
Speedy like a mouse.
Yes.
Android messages, Jill. Android messages without having to install KDE.
Yes. Yes. Very true. And it's also nice that this is actually a standalone app that you can use instead of running a tab in a web browser to check your Android messages. And yes, as everyone has probably guessed, this is another Electron app.
Wait. So instead of having your Android messages in, I don't know, a browser tab, now you can run an entirely different browser just for that.
Yes, exactly. Just like we do with Discord and other applications.
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. There's a very valid point. It was like, wait a minute. Instead of keeping it running in a tab, I can take what this project's done. Same thing with Discord or Slack or anything like that. You've shoved your web zone into an Electro-wrap piece of nope. Then usually you've shoved that into like a Snap package or something like that. Perfect sense.
And you get the full nope.
You get the full nope.
This is a thing, though. This is also available, like I said, with just your web browser. You can go to Google's new thing to set it up, and you just, do the QR code, and you can do it directly through the browser. That's neat. When I saw this, there are some benefits to having a standalone app, though, as opposed to...
Yes.
And listen, I don't love Electron. That's... that's a lot of memory RAM to chew up to, have chat open effectively. But I can dig this. Personally, I don't use this because I've had a desktop version of texting available on my desktop for years. It's called my mobile, my phablet, my tablet. It's right there on my desk, right on my desktop.
On your desk.
So yeah, that's kind of a hard sell. I use Discord. We use Discord constantly. They did a good job with it, but it is still memory hungry.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It is running the Chromium embedded framework, or Electron, if you want to call it that. So yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Jill? Do you think Electron? Let's take a break from the show and just hate on Electron for like 2 minutes.
That in what, 3 weeks?
Right.
I think it's a very good technology. It just needs to be implemented a bit better and be more memory efficient. And I think once they get that down, they'll
why do you have the slimmest hope that they're going to work towards memory efficiency? Like,
probably not.
Everybody has 16 gigs of RAM. Look at this canonical wait.
Yeah.
Nope. Orwin.
I know.
That is a thing. I want to thank all the beautiful people making this happen. Every Wednesday, every Saturday, every Tuesday, every Thursday, every Friday. That's right. We stream 5 days a week. I think it's 5 days or 4 days. It's terrifying. You guys made that possible by supporting us through Patreon or shopping through our Amazon affiliate links. We have almost all the countries there, and that really helps out. And we even have a little wish zone if you're like, screw it, we want to donate the hardware because we're trying to build a monster right now, something that's never been done, and I'm documenting it. It is terrifying. Newegg links, we got a humble partner. Part of that goes to charity. It helps out. And hey, we get some of that coin. We have LibraPay. That's there along with PayPal, which is still a thing, and some magic internet monies. But Pedro, Joe,
yay!
We gotta thank some new patrons this week. Well, not new. These are, what would you? How do we put it? Like super patrons? They're like, hey man, we're gonna make it rain
they're
more.
Super Saiyan Patreons. Yes.
Okay. Who do we got this week?
Yeah, Credzy increased their pledge, and so did David S. Thank you so much. That was
awesome. I think that that puts us at a certain milestone, doesn't it?
No.
Yes.
Pedro, I told you, don't do crack before the show. Nothing has changed. Nothing's going to happen.
No.
This is going to be the regular old Yeah.
Nothing's changed except
Yay!
$260 from 118 patrons, which means we'll periodically do limited runs of shirts, posters, novelty mirrors, and flamethrowers.
Yay! We get
Big
Friday
question
Fruit
mark on
Bar
the
shirts.
flamethrowers.
This is truly terrifying, horrifying. As long as this holds towards the end of the month, it's going to be a thing. And I got some designs. I got to talk with our art department. You know who you are. And
Our artist extraordinaire.
Yeah.
I got some ideas. They're going to be basic. It's probably going to be Model T. You can have it in any color you want, as long as it's hot pink. But if you got 4 quarters and you want to help this little dog and pony show out, consider becoming a patron. Plus, you get access to our Discord, which is a weird place. It's kind of cool. We got 100 people hanging out in there, talking about everything, and they're strangely polite. And you get access to our Super Shows, which is our weekly production meeting, which is a good time to come check that out because there's a video component of us failing hard because it's everyone's favorite time of doing new things with our streaming and video setup. And I think the last one was called the Nope Cascade.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was delicious. Much like this next segment. It's called a slice of pie.
Bye. Yes, and well, it could be delicious, yes, but don't drink soap, kids. It's not good for you. So, one enterprising person, he calls himself Les Pounder, and he had a Raspberry Pi, and he went to Poundland, and he found that thing that you see on video, which is a very plasticky blue and brown thing that blows bubbles electronically. That's the big thing. So he decided to put his Raspberry Pi to use, along with a motor and a liberal dose of hot glue to make sure that none of the soapy water made it to the Pi. And, well, not content with just having a Pi-powered soapbox, he also decided to connect it to Twitter. And what happens when you tweet with that particular hashtag? It sends out all the bubbles. I was right at the end of that.
So everyone out there, hashtag LGC cares to make Ben's life miserable because he's going to be building one today.
You see, that's half right. Listen, I first saw this. Let me let everyone in on how my brain meats works. I was like, oh, geez, that is truly horrifying. That bothers me on certain levels. It's like, what would make this interesting? What would make you want? It's like, what would make this fun? Hydrogen. Which quickly led me to YouTube. And I was like, how difficult is this? It's like, wait a minute. It's that easy to make hydrogen bubble bombs? Which then led to, well, I know what I'm doing this evening.
Yeah,
your neighbors are going to have a special brand of hate reserved for you tonight.
Not really, because I'm also the mad scientist in the neighborhood, so when things break, they gotta come, they're like, how do I fix this? We don't have a HOA in my hoity-toity neighborhood, but man, I bet they wish they did after I got in here. It is kind of brilliant. Actually, I'm a decent neighbor. We have that like neighborhood texting thing, and I'm always polite and be like, that loud explosion's going to be me. True story. That is our slice of pie. We got a little bit of feedback this week, Pedro. How can the beautiful party people get in touch with us?
Well, you can reach out and touch us if you so like. Stay away from me. Or, the best way to actually let us know what you think is to go on over to linuxgamecast.com, hit the contact button, make sure to pick LWDW, put in your name, your email address, a subject, the message that you'd like to share with us, be it some criticism, some feedback, something we didn't talk about in the show that you would very much you feel like it was a big misstep on our part, or hence thoughts, allegations, and as usual, things better left unsaid. So this week we actually have 2 bits of feedback, which is really, Really nice. And the first one comes from Don. And he says, 2018 at Venn, I agree with you on region locking in 2018. This is from the discussion that we were having about the region locking and how Google seems to be prolific at that.
See, I took the Pepsi challenge on this one because I didn't remember what this was about. I just assumed Pedro. Thank you.
Yeah. So he goes on to say, I blame the media companies and their close-mindedness to change with the times. I realize that they need the revenue, but so far they seem to be encouraging people to find workarounds, thus shooting themselves in the foot trying to stop the piracy. Precisely. You could sell a legitimate thing if you made it widely available. If you're deliberately blocking it in certain countries, guess what? People are going to pirate it.
Region locking doesn't work in 2018.
Yeah.
No.
You're wasting money and you're wasting people's time. You're not going to win. Do they even bother? Well, okay, I guess. Now, Steam does, you could argue this. They don't necessarily region lock, but they kind of price lock.
Yeah.
Yes, they price lock and they give developers the option that if they want to, they can region lock their games.
And I would assume that physical media like Blu-rays and DVDs are still region locked, to which I would report
the DRM.
Oh, yeah. What be this digital like hard copy?
Yeah.
Which I know somebody's out there like, I just bought a 4K TV and it's amazing. And that's cool, but I don't like hoarding stuff. So I don't collect movies.
Yeah.
I have friends like that, and I'm like,
and Google is, in my opinion, the worst offender. They have region-locked podcasts on the Play Store out of Portugal. You
Pedro, I just did that to mess with you.
It's not just Portugal. It's Portugal. It's Spain, Italy, and a few other European countries.
No. I'm going to bring this up, though. Do you think Google was doing that because Portugal did something? And said, hey.
Well, there is that tax that Portugal has on storage that basically brings to law the whole private copy thing, that everything you have on that hard drive is yours.
This is true. What do you think about DRM in 20? Well, not DRM's a whole different can of chainsaws.
Region locking is part of it, yes.
Jill? Thoughts?
Yeah,
do you love it? It's your favorite thing?
I hate it. I hate it. I was happy when I got stopped using DVDs for that reason. That was so annoying having all the different regions, because I'd buy DVDs from England and then have to hack them to play them here, and I've always hated that. And Google,
well, you would have to like rip them, because I still have a ton of stuff that I brought over that are in PAL.
Yeah. I actually hacked a US player to play PAL.
And by hack, we mean we put it in Handbrake and ripped it.
Yeah. Yes. Handbrake is awesome.
Gets us done. Joe H. writes in, overnight. Well, this is going to be a fun one. Here's a little thought experiment for everyone at home. Might be a ridiculous question, but is there a single things that would both advance Linux as a whole while spreading adoption overnight, ? Like Microsoft Wine, or maybe Microsoft Linux would also work.
Yes, introducing some matter of complete 100% compatibility between Windows applications and the Linux operating system would move a lot of people over. No questions. And especially it would move entire very poor countries over. That's the big one. That's the big one right there. And I don't think it's the best way to do it, ideologically speaking, because...
All right, Pedro, I tell you this a lot. I'm hearing a lot of problems. I'm not hearing any solutions.
Yeah, it's ideologically speaking, the thing that we would need would be for developers to actually start supporting Linux. But that's never going to happen. Adobe has proven time and time again they do not want to support Linux when it comes to...
They're not going to do it until they're forced. Okay, maybe Wine, Microsoft branded Wine. That's a bit much. What about Microsoft brings over DX?
complete DirectX support on Linux. Yeah, that would games would literally be a recompile away from a Linux binary.
I'm saving you, Pedro.
Yes, it's the Unity just click export thing. You would still have to test it.
Jill,
obviously.
how would you single-handedly advance Linux and spread adoption? What would be your one thing?
Honestly, bringing all the games to Linux. Just like what we were saying, that is definitely one of the big things that's preventing a lot of gamers and a big chunk of the population from coming over, and bringing Microsoft Office over. I know it's horrible to say, but that is one.
Yeah, in a way they have, because Office 365 is
the 365. Yeah,
that's online.
But just having more of the, like Pedro was saying, more of the apps brought over to Linux, including all the Adobe apps. Although our alternatives are getting so good now that they're surpassing Adobe in a lot of areas. So
but you're never going to convince a die-hard Photoshop user that can do the same thing.
Because the Photoshop Illustrator, anybody's going to walk out and there's like YMC support, and you're going to like, all right, never mind.
but the new Adobe Creative Cloud does run fine in wine, so
we'll see it. Now, if I had to just say, well, this thought experiment is like, okay, here's what you write in. I want to see some emails next week. Use their contact form. Give us like the thing that would do it. Because I thought about this for a minute, and it's like, okay, so your challenge, if you choose to accept it, advanced Linux and what was it? Spreading adoption. There's one company that can do this, I believe. Valve. Pedro already knows where I'm about to go.
Oh yeah.
But I'm going to throw a modifier in here. I'm going to see if we can get a twofer out of it. Naturally, I'm sure a lot of you at home know what I'm about to say. Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
Linux exclusive. Okay, that's a given.
Portal 3.
Nope. I got to throw my modifier. Half-Life 3, Linux exclusive, only runs with Wayland.
Yeah.
You want to advance technology? You want to force people to start? You want NVIDIA to release those drivers?
No, we're supporting Wayland the way they won now. There you go.
That's how I would do it.
Yeah.
And another thing is just educating the public. Like in the schools, I teach my students how to install Linux.
You also got to remember, in 2018, the average person's computer is their mobile. I mean...
Yeah. And that's true too. Yeah, cell phones and tablets.
So, and ultimately, people don't need to know what they're running, as long as it, at the end of the day, I know that's not, but that's the ultimate goal, I think, is to have something that's usable. It doesn't matter. It's going to be running Linux. It's going to be running Microsoft. Have you seen? Go ahead.
It's the laptops manufacturers and distributors. If they can load Linux onto their units that are going to stores, and they can do so without feeling like, we're just living on borrowed time until people realize, oh, this isn't Windows and we can't run everything. If they could do that, if there was the software support from big developers for Linux, I think that would be the thing that would change it all, in my opinion.
All right.
Like what Google's doing with Chromebooks. That's kind of that's a big deal.
Even Adobe is supporting Chromebooks.
All right, I'm going to hose you two off in a minute. We got to get out of here. Come on, calm down. Tap the brakes. It's been beautiful. It's fun. It's been real. I want to thank everyone for showing up, watching us live. If you're listening after the fact, thanks for giving it a download. It is a podcast. I know I had somebody last week who's like, wait a minute, I just saw the download. And I was like, yeah, there's an RSS feed. Put it, and I was like, oh, and we're even on iTunes. It's terrifying. Tomorrow, you can tune in. Jordan, maybe even Jill, and Sandy. Yeah. They do their thing. Friday, trivia. That's going to rock.
Sam.
All right. We'll see how that works. And Pedro will be chewing on glue sticks until Saturday. And it's going to be awesome.
It's amazing. They taste so delicious.
It's not his fault. Let's roll those credits and take a look at all the beautiful.
I may or may not have hit my head several times when I was a child.
Yeah, so on the Friday Food Bar, we're going to play more Jackbox games. That'll be fun.
Oh, we are?
Well, you said we were.
I'm just messing with you.
And I see an updated introduction credits here.
Oh, it's going to get cray-cray next week. I got some new stuff. This one, I wanted to go out on this one before I make a new background, because this one's going to drive Frenchie insane.
Yeah.
This is me intentionally trying to jack something up.
Yeah.
We love you, ladies and gentlemen. Bye.
Bye, patrons. Bye, chat room.
And we are out. Good show. Good show.
Well, that's why the letters weren't showing throughout most of it. They were just like doing that, but off screen.
Oh,
yeah.
To apply the level of asshattery and just legitimate effery to that, yeah, no. Boom! After shows ends. Click.
Sounds very Rocket League-y.
Yes. Yeah, it does, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and unlike
Sounds
Rocket
like
League, it won't get us
intro.
knocked off YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Save, baby, save. And you can do it. Boom. All right. Good times. It's like EDM, but less annoying.
What, Strider? Triggered by something on the internet? No.
You merely get triggered. I was bornly triggered.
You merely adopted the trigger. I was born in it. Molded by it.
That's Strider's secret. Yes, it is empty. He's always triggered.
He's like the Incredible Baguette.
The baguette with eyes. Ben used to use that picture on LWW.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, DXVK is actually kind of amazing. Spin Tires now works properly without those black texture squares if you use DXVK.
Yeah.
I'm eventually going to get Strider on to talk about Lutris once some other things happen, and so
yeah,
I'm taking notes, buddy. I'm going to blow you up during that interview. And just keep them coming. Oh, all right. I thought that said baguettes with glory holes.
Googly eyes.
The frightening thing, I wasn't totally opposed to this. Right. We made it through another one of those. Let's take a look. So the Paradox game launcher is available for everyone. Uh-oh.
Oh.
It blinked.
It blinked. Thankfully,
Yes.
after the show.
Good timing there, Internet.
Good timing, yes. Before and after.
I was talking about the Paradox game launcher is now a thing.
Yeah.
So
You can go to their
That's
web zone.
and unlike Steam, it's under games in the menu.
Well, Steam is in games and internet.
Yeah, that's being greedy, dog. It's being greedy.
I'm surprised they didn't shoehorn it into multimedia. After all, it can play music.
All right, it works. I don't have the one game it works with, but I.
I guess the developers will have to change like the Steamworks stuff to not require it for the next version.
I don't know. I mean, I linked up my that's what I was looking forward to, because I was like, I know I have some games from Paradox. I was like, let's link the Steam accounts, and I did it. It's like, where's my games, Brad? And it's like, nope, we only worked with that one. Stellaris.
Yeah.
Buzzkill. Hey man, it's still a better love story than GOG, right?
What's that? You'd like a game client?
Yeah.
No. Bye.
Galaxy.
You know, we give Strider a lot of shit, but Bluetooth is pretty good.
Oh, that's awesome, Matthew. I love it. Oh, the froggy.
You see,
I like the at up there too.
I wasn't even worried about it. Everyone else is like talking. I was like, he's being awfully. I knew you were up to something. Is what I'm saying.
Yes.
I was like, you were being way too quiet. Because there's a bunch of Paradox games on Linux, Chips. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matthew, your DX, your Vulkan support on Wine has just been absolutely awesome. I'm gonna get to play one of my favorite games that was for PlayStation because of it, Thumper, and I was so happy I found that you recently updated that to work
Thumper.
with.
I didn't know they had
DX
adult
game.
titles on PlayStation.
Bad Vin.
As opposed to what, Joe? As opposed to what? Like, oh, you're not being your normal sweetheart self.
Yeah. Yay, and I can play The Witness now. Yes, without being all pixelated and funky. Yes. I'm so looking forward to that. Yeah.
I think Batman works until you go into detective mode or something, then it just spite crashes or something. Try to follow it.
Mm-hmm. Yay, the
The
Witness.
one that never was.
Yeah, right. The fact that we know there's a build floating. When we're in the home, Pedro, and we're doing a LAN party in the nursing home, maybe someone will finally leak it.
Oh.
You know, it's like those titles that you see get released in like 30 years later, and you're like, somebody backed it up.
It's I mean, we've seen it happen. The Oblivion version for the PSP that was never released that Bethesda was working on, that got leaked. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Do it for sides.
Yes.
That's cute. I noticed. I think it was yesterday. I was chatting with Jordan. I'm like, man, you're being a chatty Cathy while you're at work. Then I see in Discord, it's like, yep, waiting on Windows 10 to finish these updates.
Yeah.
Like, but fortunately, it's like, and getting paid for it.
And he's getting paid, yes. That's the one thing nice about Windows. You do make a lot of money off it, troubleshooting it and doing installs.
Hey,
Like,
man,
it's a thing.
if you're getting paid waiting on a Windows update on a laptop, wrap it in blankets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Throttle that thing.
I used to always find that ironic, when I was heavily doing IT work, and it was like, oh, I get paid to clean off people's viruses and install Windows very slowly. Install Windows. And I'm not going to bother showing this person Linux because then my job would be gone. So, no, I can't.
That's one of the things my brother's is like, I love BMW engineering. This keeps me employed.
Ah, yes. Mm-hmm.
He doesn't like BMW engineering.
Yeah. Mercedes engineering was the one that Steven used to comment on when he used to work at a shop years ago. That everything was the same. You didn't have to buy different.
Well, what did Steve do
hardware.
at the shop, guys? Who's the petrol boy?
Yeah. Actually, his brother had a business taking out of country.
No, just leave it like that. I want to imagine that Steve's brothers takes out countries. He's like CIA or
No, he actually had a shop where he was would bring in cars from other countries and make them US certified to be on our roads, like the tail headlights and all those goodies, and made really good money on doing that because it didn't take very much to change those cars to make them roadworthy. But he always commented on the build of the Mercedes. We're so nice to work with.
That's pretty cool. Going on. So let's see. Anything else going on? Oh, if you guys are going to be doing Serious Sam, you need to do some deathmatch. Okay, it's doing that weird thing. Has anyone ever noticed this? Like I'm not saying this is a common thing, but I can clearly see because I'm down here with this big ass window and I remember to open the blinds because it drives me crazy if you hear something outside. You're like, what was that? And
yeah,
it's raining in like half of the yard.
Oh yeah, yes.
There was a distinct line. I was like, damn it! Did I leave the force field up?
Here you are, Steve husband. I was just talking about you.
Yeah, she was.
Your
Don't rewind, man.
Working at your brother's shop on how you enjoyed working on their Mercedes cars because
totally not a chop chop.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, man. That was Vin Diesel's character was based on him in Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Anything else crazy going on?
No. But I am hungry.
What are you going to have tonight? What's on the pound marked menu?
Take out Chinese.
Yummy. Yay!
There's a fish and chips, Chinese-owned fish and chips place that also does take out Chinese. So
I didn't know where you were going with that.
It's actually not bad. It's not cheap, but yeah, it's all right for what you're paying. You get a lot of food.
God, man, I mean,
yeah, enough for 2 meals, huh?
Yeah.
See, it doesn't do me any good if I get like a large helping of something, because then I'll eat and I'm like, oh, I'm stuffed, but I'll go lay down because like I'm coming back. Like I can finish this. Here comes some strange, but look, it's you, Sean. It's terrifying.
Yes, I did, Steve husband. And oh yes, your brother worked with gray market import. Something Ben would like.
Oh, I know all about taking the seats and engine out and having things reassembled as a kit car.
Yeah.
I know these rules. I'm familiar with them.
Yes.
I genuinely was perturbed because you can't get a TVR Tuscan in America without.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that'd be fun. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, it's that car from Swordfish.
Right.
See, easily done.
Yeah. Yeah, Steve's brother had built a Lotus kit car and a couple
all
other...
Lotuses are kit cars, Jill.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But this one was even more unique.
And I don't say that in a kind way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though YouTube really thinks, for some reason, I'm not making this up, that I'm planning on buying a Lotus Elise. It's funny that you bring that up because it has been showing me, like, owning my Lotus Elise, steps for buying a Lotus Elise. It's like how I feel after 6 months of it. It's like, I'm never going to buy an Elise.
Mm-hmm.
My brother's first car in high school was, like, on purpose. It's been edited. I see what you've done, Steve. Can't fool me. Alright. Think we're gonna bounce on this happy music?
Yes.
Yes.
What do you got going on for the end of the day, Joe?
Oh, I'm getting together with the Linux chicks.
That's right.
And Los Angeles, yay! And we're actually usually when we get together, it's always something computer or Linux related, of course. But this time we're taking a break and we're actually just gonna go out, enjoy the sun, and go bike riding or hiking at the beach.
Mhm.
So
Nice.
that'll be cool. And eating lunch.
LA lunch. Oh man,
Yes.
so fashionable.
Yeah. Yes.
What movie was that from?
I'm probably gonna eat vegan, Venn, so you'll be happy.
That's mean, man. There's not enough of us. Quit picking us off one by one.
No, most of my friends are vegan, so it's or vegetarian or vegan. I'm more vegetarian. I do eat meat, but only occasionally. So, but I
Better
definitely.
be glad that this is not Saturday.
Then.
What? I'm keeping it
Yes.
real, yo.
Yeah, I know. Keep it real.
That's bugging me. Pedro, what is that? What movie is that from?
I have no idea.
I know I've seen that.
Yeah, I know I've seen it, but
You're boring me back to death. I don't know. Okay, beautiful people. We're gonna go do things that I don't know. Pedro's gonna eat. Jill's gonna go have like a big party. And I'm going to slave away for you. Make a plan. Nah, it's gonna be fun. You get it done.
yay!
All right.
Yay!
We'll see you next Wednesday. And Pedro and I
Yes.
will be back Saturday. And we'll have the after
Indeed.
show as always. Rocket Leagues. It's been fun. It's been real. Bye bye.
Bye, chat room.
Uh,
Yay!